The following is a Sunny 99.5 WSTX station editorial.
This is Holland Redfield. Today, the editorial department will be veering away from our typically politically oriented commentary to speak to an issue of childhood depression and depression in general, which in many cases have led to tragic outcomes. This is an issue that has become all too common in our major universities in the United States, and that one only has to follow the stateside media to observe the murder-suicide by young adults who have directed their inner anger outwardly. We would be naive to think that we are immune to such potential here in the territory. Much of this violent behavior has been brought about by severe depression of individuals acting out. We realize that this topic can be very personal in nature. However, we feel it warrants a frank discussion. We do not profess to be experts on this topic, but we have taken the time to discuss this issue frankly with Dr. Denise Marshall, one of our leading local psychologists who have returned to the Virgin Islands in early 2005. She has been director of the Virgin Islands Department of Mental Health for the past 2 years. Dr. Marshall reports that less than 1/3 of these children or teens with depression receive treatment. National statistics indicate that 3 out of 10 are suffering from one form or another of depression. We were saddened to discover that suicide is the third greatest cause of death amongst adolescents. Clearly, depression is a complicated condition, and there is usually a genetic or biochemical propensity towards this tragic and debilitating disorder. Dr. Marshall pointed out that adolescents are apt to show their emotional struggles through nonverbal behavior. Parents, teachers, healthcare professionals working with children should make it a point to be alert to the following types of nonverbal clues, which should not be taken lightly, and include poor appetite, overeating, poor academic progress, low energy, chronic fatigue, low self-esteem, a sense of helplessness, poor concentration, aggression, or irritability. Dr. Marshall recommends that if a parent, caregiver, or school personnel see depressive symptoms in a child, that they immediately contact a mental health professional through the Department of Mental Health, through the Child and Family Program at the Department of Human Services, or through the Association of Virgin Islands Psychologists for available treatment. The Virgin Islands community should become more open-minded and understand that there is a very heavy cost to the individual who is having these problems, as well as a heavy cost to our community. Clearly, individuals suffering from depression tend to have a greater chance of being tempted into a life of antisocial behavior and potentially criminal behavior, tend to have lower graduation rates, and more than likely are unemployed, tend to have lower incomes, and to have problems in the workplace as well as family relations. Those with a history of adolescent depression are twice as likely to have an episode of depression as an adult as compared to a person who has had no past or current history of this psychological condition. As a result of recent testimony in front of the Virgin Islands Legislature, we are aware that the funding for these treatments is gravely inadequate, and that it is time that we treat this issue with the seriousness which it deserves. It is our hope that when the administration and the legislature sit down to develop the upcoming budget, that they will fund it at a level which reflects the seriousness of this problem. Being in denial is not going to make this problem go away, and putting our head in the sand like an ostrich with its tail feathers showing is not going to make this problem any better. Let's get with it and solve it.
Sunny 99.5 and WSTX welcome your opinions. Please email your comments to our editorial department. Our email address is editorial@viradio.com. Sunny 99.5 and WSTX reserve the right to air your views. Please include your name and other contact information.